Good afternoon, everyone. On this auspicious eve of Charaka Jayanti, I, Dr. Priyanka Ishwar Chimanchur, Assistant Professor, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, feel honored to welcome each one of you to this enlightening celebration dedicated to the great sage and father of Ayurveda, that is Acharya Charaka. So, to celebrate this meaningful day, we are graced by a truly esteemed personality who carry forward the torch of Ayurveda in today's world. Let us welcome Dr. P.Rammanohar, sir. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for joining us today, sir. Sir will be discussing the topic Charaka Kathayati Dialogues with Timeless Healer. Charaka Jayanti, celebrated on the fifth day of the Shukla Paksha in the month of Shravana, is a day dedicated to honoring Acharya Charaka. Acharya Charaka wasn't just a physician, he was a visionary. At the time when much of the world was still figuring out the basics of health, Charaka had already defined principle of holistic wellness, ethics in medical practice, and the balance of body and mind. To begin this beautiful event on a positive and spiritual note, let us invoke the blessings of the Almighty. I now invite Dr. Sujata Ma'am and Dhanushri to present the prayer song. Let us all join our hands and bow our heads in reverence.
Namaste, sir. Today I am going to sing a Bhakti Gita for the Shardamba, who is, we consider alumni of A.L.N. Rao. We consider her as our mother. So, living example of her blessing is Dr. Vd.P.Rammanohar, sir. And she blessed me with her supreme knowledge, that is the spiritual knowledge to me also. So thank you, sir. And here we present a Sharadamba Bhakti Gita. Reem, Greem, Cream, Japatushte, Himaruchi Mukute, Vallaki, Vagrahaste. Matar, Matar, Namaste, Daha Daha Jadatam, Dehi Buddhim Prashanta, Vidde Vedanta Vedde, Parinata Patite, Mokshade Mukti Marge. मार्गातीत स्वरूपे भव मम वरदा शारदे शुभ्रहारे शारदे दय तोरिदे शारदे दय तोरिदे निನ್ನ ಕರುಣೆಯ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ನಾ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರುಣೆಯ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ನಾ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ಹಾಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಳಿಯ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಳಿಯ ವಸ್ತ್ರವನ್ನು ಧರಿಸಿ ಬಿಳಿಯ ಕುಸುಮಗಳ ಮಾಲೆ ಕೊರಳಲಿರೆ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ವೀಣೆಯನ್ನು ನುಡಿಸಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಂಗಳ ಬೆಳಕನು ನನ್ನ ಕಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಂಗಳ ಬೆಳಕನು ನನ್ನ ಕಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿದೆ ಏಳು ಮಗುವೆ ಮೇಲೇಳು ಎಂದು ಹೊಸ ಬಾಳ ತಂದೆ ಅಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರುಣೆಯ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ನಾ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ಅಂಧಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೊಂದು ಬಳಲುತ್ತಿರೆ ಬಂದು ಕೈಯ ಹಿಡಿದೆ ಕಂದಯೇ ಕಳುವೆ ಮುಂದೆ ದಾರಿ ಇದೆ ಎಂದು ನೀನೆ ನುಡಿದೆ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಯ ಪುಣ್ಯವೋ ನಾನೆಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪೂಜೆಯೋ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಯ ಪುಣ್ಯವೋ ನಾನೆಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪೂಜೆಯೋ ಇಂದು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ಆನಂದ ಪಡೆದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ದಯ ತೋರಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರುಣೆಯ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ನಾ ಮುತ್ತಾದೆ ಶಾರದೆ 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 ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you, ma'am, for heavenly areas and letting the goodness spark. To set the tone for this wonderful gathering and to extend a warm welcome to each one of you, I now invite Dr. Sujata ma'am, Professor and HOD, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, to deliver the welcome address.
Not audible.
Now, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to everyone gathered here today. With great joy and honor that we welcome you all to this enlightening webinar on Charaka Kathayati Dialogues with a Timeless Seer. We are truly privileged to have with us today a renowned scholar, researcher, and a thought leader in the field of Ayurveda, Vd.P.Rammanohar sir. Sir's deep insights, scholarly interpretations, and contemporary relevance of Ayurvedic text is always inspiring everyone. I also welcome Principal Dr. Manjunath Akki sir and Dean Ma'am, Dean Dr. Neeta Deshmukh Madam, and all my colleagues and dear students to this program. And this platform is not just a lecture, but an opportunity to listen, to reflect, and to question. So if you have any queries, please feel free to ask. This is your chance to interact with one of the finest minds in Ayurvedic Academy. Once again, I welcome everyone and let the conversation begin. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Saida Aisha, Associate Professor, Department of Panchakarma, to give a brief introduction about our today's guest speaker.
Good morning, sir. It is my honor to welcome among us one of the most well-known personalities in the world of Ayurveda, Dr. P. Ram Manohar, sir, Director, Amrita Center of Ayurvedic Research in Ayurveda, Amrita School of Ayurveda, Kollam, Kerala. Sir has worked as a research fellow, senior research fellow, research coordinator, and other various posts and positions in his decades-long career in various organizations like LSPSS Coimbatore, FRLHT Bangalore, ALN Rao Ayurvedic Medical College, Reliance Health and Technology Bangalore, Arya Vaidyam Nilayam Madurai, etc. And Sir is also a member of National Commission for Indian System of Medicine, GOI. Sir did his BMS from Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Sir did his MD in Dravya Guna from ALN Rao Ayurvedic Medical College, Koppa. Sir is having teaching experience of more than 25 years, much more than the age of many students sitting over here. Sir worked as a lecturer at ALN Rao Ayurvedic Medical College, Koppa, Ayurveda instructor at Southern California University of Health Sciences, USA, visiting lecturer of Ayurveda, Essen University, Germany, faculty for MSc program in Ayurveda validated by Middlesex University, UK, European Academy of Ayurveda, Germany. He is having so many research experiences. He worked as a principal investigator, project principal investigator, and co-principal investigator in various organizations and programs. He has been extensively awarded for his services to the field of medicine and his achievements in the field of Ayurveda. Some of the awards he received are as follows: Raghavam Trimullapad Puraskaram, Ayurveda Ratna Award, Dhanvantri Award, Dr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar Healing Honor 2021, Bhishak Bhushan Puraskaram from Vagbhata Sarani, Dr. C. Dwaraknath Memorial Award, Bharadwaja Puraskaram Award, Vaidya Sundarlal Joshi Smriti Sudha Puraskaram, Ayurveda Marga Parvartaka Award, Vivek Devrai Bharatiya Baudhik Parampara Samvardhana Prashasti 2025 by Rithik India. Excellence in Integrative Medicine Research Award from the European Society of Integrative Medicine in 2012. He has made research visits to more than 20 countries. He has made research visits to the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Germany, France, Netherlands, Italy, Australia, Latvia, Russia, Denmark, Belgium, Singapore, Switzerland, Thailand, and Sri Lanka for the promotion of Ayurveda. Sir currently is a member of World Health Organization Technical Advisory Editorial Board on Traditional Complementary and Integrative Medicine Evidence and member of National Commission of Indian System of Medicine, Government of India. Co-chair of Special Interest Group on Ayurveda Society for Integrative Oncology, research advisor in Indian National Science Academy, Government of India, New Delhi. Modern Editorial Board, European Journal of Integrative Medicine, subject editor in Indian Journal of Traditional Knowledge, member of Editorial Board, Indian Journal for the History of Science, Indian National Science Academy, Government of India, New Delhi. Sir has worked as a member of OT Task Force for the Ayush response to COVID-19 by Government of Kerala. A very widely published personality known for his depth analysis and exploring of new ideas in Ayurveda. Sir has published many articles in national and international journals. He is active member of Society for Integrative Oncology and member of a special interest group for Ayurveda at the Society of Integrative Oncology. He was invited speaker at the World Cancer Congress held in Geneva, Switzerland on October 2022, organized by National Cancer Institute, USA. He is currently collaborating with the University of California, San Francisco, and Western Sydney University, Australia to develop research projects in integrative oncology. He has appeared in media regularly, especially the foreign media, spreading awareness regarding Ayurveda and its benefits. He has been featured in the public broadcasting services in the USA in documentary titled India A Second Opinion, highlighting the scope of Ayurveda in chronic diseases. He was one of the anchor in the documentary of Journey of Ayurveda, produced by the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. He also made a brief appearance on the German TV channel RBB for the documentary How Healthy a Vegetarian Diet. He was interviewed by BBC Radio 4 London on the theme Herb Pills and Potions, broadcast and webcast by BBC Radio. He was also featured in the Veggie channel Italy and spoke on the evolution of a vegetarian diet in Ayurveda. The great personality like Dr. P. Rammanohar sir has accepted our invitation for the webinar on eve of Charaka Jayanti. It is a great honor for us. It is a great honor for us. Thank you, sir. May he continue to teach us and uplift us through his knowledge and generosity. Now I request Vd.P.Rammanohar sir to enlighten us with his remarks. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that long and warm introduction. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to share my thoughts on the occasion of Charaka Jayanti. As we all know, Charaka is a great and towering personality in the field of Ayurveda alongside Sushruta. And it is really befitting that we remember the contributions of such great acharyas. Is there some problem with the screen? Something has happened?
No, sir.
Okay. Yes. So let us begin by small prayer to honor Charaka and his contributions, very popular sloka, where Charaka is visualized as Patanjali and has been attributed to contributing to not only medicine but also the field of Vyakarana and yoga, and thereby completely refining the human personality in both body, speech, and mind. So, yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopaharottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjalir anatosmi. So, this is a mythological, narrative. Actually, there is no historical evidence, or the Charaka Samhita itself does not attribute any connection between Charaka and Patanjali. But when people do extraordinary contributions, it is natural that such narratives are built around such individuals. And that is what happened to Charaka also. So Patanjali is, we know, a mythological figure. Of course, historically, we have attributed the composition of Yoga Sutras to Patanjali, and then the Bhashya of Ashtadhyayi, that is having a much more historical backing. But the idea that Charaka Samhita was actually also composed by, Patanjali in the form of Charaka does not have that much historical evidence. But it speaks of the greatness of Charaka for some person to be elevated to the status or being linked with Patanjali. That is the reason why I am starting with this discussion. Speaks of the greatness of that personality and the greatness of the work, the contribution that he has done. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted because on my screen I'm not able to see the images very clearly. Is the transmission correct? Is the speaker focused?
Yes, sir. You are completely audible here, sir.
No, I'm talking about the visibility because
Visibility, sir.
yeah, the image has become very small and on the side.
Okay,
So
give me 2 seconds, sir. Is it fine, sir?
yeah. So now I can see split two images. One with
One. Okay, sir.
yeah.
This.
Okay, yeah, now it's fine. Because I was finding it a bit difficult to relate to the screen. It keeps shifting, so that's a bit of a disturbance. Now nothing is seen. In between it was okay. Yeah, now it is fine. Can you leave it like this? Hello, can I continue?
Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay. Now again the screen has split, so this keeps shifting, and that's creating a bit of a distraction. If you can maintain one screen, that would be fine.
This is fine, sir. Now.
This is fine. Only thing is it is split, and one person is shown without a video, so that can also be distracting to the viewers. I'm just looking at it from the point of view of the viewers.
Okay, sir.
So if you are showing a split screen, you can also switch on your camera so that now this is fine for a single speaker because I think this is also being broadcast on YouTube, so it's good to maintain a proper screen orientation. Okay, fine. So, yeah, as I was telling that, of course, we lost some time in this introduction and confusion. We'll try to make up. So this connection to Patanjali speaks of Charaka's, greatness and the fact that he has done something extraordinary. We know that Yoga Sutra is kind of a monumental work. Ashtadhyayi is also a monumental work. To imagine that so many thousands of years ago, such treatises could be composed is quite mind-boggling, because one Panini's Ashtadhyayi and then the Bhashyam on that is so profound. So the fact that Charaka was, connected to Patanjali shows that the Charaka Samhita has also been elevated to the status of a work like Yoga Sutra and Mahabhashya, because they are timeless. Ashtadhyayi, even if we look at it today, it is the most comprehensive framework, setting the rules and the syntax and all the necessary structure for a very refined language. It's still relevant. Even today scholars are studying about it. In our own university, a critical edition on Ashtadhyayi is happening, and the Patanjali Yoga Sutras also continues to inspire. It talks about deep knowledge about the yoga, which is being rediscovered through modern, neuroscience and biology. So Charaka Samhita has been recognized to, be in that kind of a genre of literature. It is given an equivalent status to that of the Yoga Sutras and the Mahabharashya. So that's a general, introductory remark on the greatness of Charaka and why he was associated with Patanjali. The next thing is the name Charaka itself. In fact, if you look at the Brihatrayi, the names of these three great acharyas, Charaka, Sushruta, and Vagbhada, they convey a very deep and profound meaning. Now, Charaka is coming from the root chara, means to move. So, Charaiveti is Charaka. So, he is constantly on the move. On the other hand, Sushruta means Sushtu Shrutam, the one who is well heard, the listener. So Charaka is a person who's constantly on the move. Sushruta is a person who is very open-minded and listens to everything. And Vagbhada is Vachi Bhadaha, who is an adept in expressing, in articulation. So if you look at the Brihatrayi, we can see that each of these acharyas are representing one function in knowledge building. This shows that Ayurveda had a very progressive outlook, and that knowledge had to continuously, evolve. And that's what the names of these acharyas are itself representing. So Charaka means we should be on the move continuously, not staying in one place. It is said that Charaka never stayed in a place. He was moving from one location to the other, learning new things, exploring the whole universe. And this spirit of Charaka Samhita, of exploring as a way to know, not just reading from books. That is the whole idea. We of course have to read the Charaka Samhita, but what Charaka has pointed out is that don't get stuck to the books, learn from nature. So this spirit of Charaka is actually articulated in Sushruta Samhita, where he says, Nadishu Shaileshu Sarassu Chapi Vanyeshu Aranyeshu Tathashrameshu Sarvatra Sarvaha Parimargidavya Sarvatra Bhumirhi Vasunite. So search everywhere. Search in the forest, search all over the earth, all over the globe, because Mother Nature is bountiful and provides treasures everywhere. So this is the spirit of Charaka. So when the name Charaka comes to us, we have to think about this exploratory nature, the free spirit. So Charaka represents the free spirit of inquiry, of exploration of knowledge, not of dogma, not of simply by hearting some verses and vomiting it. And Patanjali means the serpent, right? So the serpent is nothing but our own energy, the Kundalini energy, which we awaken through the power of yoga. And that's probably the reason why Patanjali is attributed to have. So it could just also mean symbolically that the Yoga Sutras was created by a person who had awakened his or her own Kundalini. Which means you need a higher yogic state of mind to be able to create this kind of knowledge. So this is what means that the two names, Patanjali and Charaka, conveys two profound things. If you want today, what do we learn from them? From these names, what is the message for today? The message is that if we want to actually take a message from Charaka's life today, one is that you need to awaken your higher yogic powers and go to a higher level of consciousness. The other message that we get is that we have to have an open mind and be exploring and open to new knowledge. So this is what I would like to talk about as the outset in our discussion today, that the names Charaka and Patanjali conveys two strong messages. Are we doing this today in our educational academy and curriculum? Are we putting in efforts to awaken our higher states of consciousness, our higher mental capabilities? Are we doing the sadhana, the tapas, the practices with which we can elevate our consciousness to a higher state? Without that, we cannot discover the deeper knowledge of Ayurveda. That is why we see in our Shastras it is said, Brahma Smrtva Aisho Vedam Prajapati Matigraha. So Brahma is the higher consciousness. When we connect to our higher levels of our mind, then we get the deeper knowledge of Ayurveda. And that is why Charaka is said to be an incarnation of Patanjali, because he recovered the whole lost knowledge of Agnivesha Samhita through his tapas and through a higher state of consciousness. And the second thing, it was not just internal. He was not sitting and closing his eyes and writing the Charaka Samhita. He wandered all over the earth. He looked at life in all its raw expressions. He saw people, he saw sick people, he saw healthy people, he saw the lifestyles of the people. And whatever insights he got from his deeper, higher experiences, he verified and validated through his field work. So you can say that Charaka was a person who did so much of field work that he got the name Charaka. So both are symbolic names. We really do not know what was probably the real name of Charaka. These are both titles. Patanjali is a title, Charaka is a title. So these titles, when somebody lives a life in a very exemplary way and is able to inspire society, then they get these symbolic names. So when we remember Charaka today, let us remember what he did, not just as a person, because the Charaka we know has become more than a person. He has become a symbol, an icon, an inspiration, a timeless inspiration. And today what we are going to do, he may have lived, we don't know the history of Charaka. We don't know actually his birth date. It has all become symbolic but very inspiring. Somewhere around the 2nd century BC, that is what many historians say, we do not know. And probably he was connected to the Takshashila University in the northwest region, looking at the descriptions of the places in the Charaka Samhita. That is what we can imagine. And even then, he is a person who has lived, more than 2000 years ago, even by the safest estimates. So to remember somebody 2000 years ago, I have lived on this earth for only about 57 years. And in that 42 years I have spent on Ayurveda. I started learning Ayurveda in 1983. So it means in 2025, around this time, in June, July, August, I was taking my first steps to join the Gurukulam in Coimbatore. It was a Gurukulam at that time, 7.5 years course inside a forest with huts. That is how we started our journey. So looking back, we are today remembering a person who has been living for more than 2000 years in the memory and the minds of people. So that reminds us how trivial we are. So I hope these 2 points are clear, because this is a StreamYard transmission and you are on YouTube. It's not possible to interact. I would have very much loved having interactions. I think there is a option for comments, and I can see some comments. If anybody has any questions at any time, you can please put it there. I would be happy to respond. So now let us see, today's theme is Charaka Kathayati, dialogues with a timeless healer. So I want to create, we don't have too much time, but just to give an inspiration, just to put Charaka in a proper context, I would like to discuss about a few initiatives. So in the Agnivesha Tantra, there is a beautiful, it's mostly in the form of dialogues. That is what makes it very interesting. It is not a didactic. It's not that you are being forced to listen to or hear some fundamental axiomatic truths and you have to believe it. No. The Charaka Samhita is very unique because it's true of Sushruta Samhita also to a great extent. But when it comes to texts like Ashtanga Hridayam and Ashtanga Sangraha, they become descriptive narratives. It's not in the form of dialogues. Whereas the Charaka Samhita is in the form of a dialogue between the disciple and the teacher. And it is in the Charaka Samhita that one of the most boldest statements have been made, that Acharyam Pariksheta. Just imagine, more than 2000 years ago, what was the freedom that a student had. You can test your Acharya and accept an Acharya only if you feel the Acharya has these qualities. This is quite fascinating. We thought in our tradition we cannot question the Acharya, we have to blindly accept somebody calls himself as an Acharya. And today, especially in today's world, when there are so many fake gurus and Acharyas, self-proclaimed gurus, Charaka's statement that Acharyam Pariksheta, before you go and surrender before someone, check and verify whether they are a genuine teacher. This speaks of, a tremendous progressive outlook, which we cannot see in any other Samhita. I think very, very few ancient textbooks openly say that that student can first of all check the Shastra that he wants to study. In today's world, we are forcing our children to join this course, that course against their will and wish. And here is Charaka Samhita says that Bishik Bubhukshu Buddhiman Shastramevadida Pariksheda. The student is given the choice of choosing the discipline or the Shastra that he wants to study. Make sure you are ready for it. It is something for which you have an aptitude. Otherwise, there was no compulsion for you to join a particular profession or course. And then you can check the Acharya. Then, of course, you will also be tested. So it is in this spirit that the whole Charaka Samhita is being set up, in a spirit of inquiry, in a spirit of questioning. And this we can see in Agnivesha also. It is more than a coincidence that Agnivesha has been given such a name. Agnim Vishati, the person who can enter the fire. You need to be able to self. What is the biggest quality of a student or a disciple? Is that you should be ready to transform yourself. And Agni or fire is the catalyst of transformation. So only you become a good student only if you are willing to give up what you are, go through the fire of discipline and training, and become something else. So we know when we make food, what are we? What are the raw materials? We cannot eat it as a raw material. We have to cook it. And unless those food ingredients undergo that cooking, it will not become so beautiful, pleasant, aromatic, so tasty. So the education system is like that. And in Charaka Samhita, even these names have deep meaning. Agnivesha was a person who was ready to undergo that transformation. That is why the text says, Na buddher visheshastatrasit. I mean, buddher visheshastatrasit. Nobadeshantaram mune tantrasya karta prathamam agnivesho yato bhavat. So he became a pioneer. So the story of Charaka Samhita is the story of so many people. It's the story of Atreya, it is the story of Agnivesha, and then it is the legacy of Charaka who captured. Just imagine that Agnivesha's Tantra was lost, and Charaka, with his yogic powers and his ability to explore and wander and gather knowledge, recreated that entire atmosphere. If you look at Charaka Samhita, you can see that nowhere is Charaka highlighted. When you start reading Charaka Samhita, you are transported to a world that recreates the origin of that Samhita, Agnivesha and Atreya. Everything in Charaka Samhita is a dialogue between Agnivesha and Atreya. So Charaka remains faithful. He doesn't project himself. This is something that we have to, appreciate. He may have made a lot of original intellectual contributions, which later, gave him the recognition and the book, the name of Charaka Samhita. Because Charaka, he has written Iti Agnivesha Krite Tantre. He still calls it as Agnivesha Tantra. Charaka Prati Samskrite. Yadi hasti tadanyatra yadne hasti natat. So this is the spirit of Charaka, that openness. And he tries to preserve, he tries to show through the Charaka Samhita that there was a time when students had that freedom, like Rabindranath Tagore said, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. And when you listen to these words of Rabindranath Tagore, you are reminded of Agnivesha. He was like that. His head was held high. His mind had no fear. He could question his guru. In the Charaka Samhita, in many places you can see Agnivesha questioning his guru. This spirit of questioning, this spirit of dialogue, we have to bring back into the Ayurvedic curriculum. That is what we should remember on the eve of Charaka, on the occasion of Charaka Jayanti. Charaka Jayanti is not a time for us to simply garland an imaginary Charaka or, eat some sweets or light a lamp. It is a time for us to imbibe the spirit of Charaka, because Charaka has survived for 2000 plus years because of this, greatness, because of the message that he has conveyed. So can you imagine what happened between Charaka and Atreya as portrayed in Charaka Samhita, inspired Vagbhada also. So Vagbhada was so fascinated by Charaka that in Ashtanga Hridayam he is referring to the dialogue between Atreya and Agnivesha that Charaka has so beautifully captured, and I would like to just chant that. Ityatrayad agamaya artha suktam dat suktanam peshalanam atriptah bhedadinam sammado bhakti namra paprachedanim samshayano agniveshaha. So at the end of the whole education, Agnivesha is asking Atreya. Ityatrayad agamaya artha suktam. He has imbibed all the teachings of Atreya. Tat suktinam peshalanam atrupta. But Agnivesha is not satisfied. I'm sure this reflects the mindset of so many students today. We are learning Ayurveda. We are very sincere about Ayurveda. We want to accept it as a truth, but so many doubts in our minds. Are we getting a chance to open up, question, and get answers? I would like to tell you, when I was a student, also I had a lot of conflicts. And I thought questioning Ayurveda may not be acceptable. And I was so troubled is when I opened this particular last Uttaratsthanam and found that, I am not alone. Agnivesha also had questions like this. So Charaka Samhita, if you study it, I feel Charaka Samhita should be read because you can relate to it. You can relate to the conflicts of a student. You can relate to the conflicts of a skeptic. All these dialogues are captured in the Charaka Samhita. So Agnivesha is telling Acharya, I am willing to accept Ayurveda, but what I am seeing outside is not matching with what you taught. So Bhedadinam Sammado Bhakti Namra Paprachedanim Samshayano Agnivesha. Agnivesha has a deep doubt. And he's not, attacking his Acharya. He's going with all reverence, bhakti. The text also says how you must ask a question. He asks his colleagues, Bhedadinam Sammado Bhakti Namra. Today, when we get a question, we attack or we don't even consult with our colleagues. So Agnivesha you can see his conduct. He discussed with his colleagues and asked them, do you have an answer? See, this question is troubling. And all of them said also, no, we don't have an answer. So please go ahead and ask our Guru. And when he reached his Guru with folded hands, Agnivesha asks, Drishyande Bhagavan Kejit Atmavando Virogina Dravyopasthada Sampranna Vruddha Vaidya Madaraga. Acharya, what I am seeing is even when people follow Ayurvedic medicine and treatment, they are still getting sick. And there are people who are not doing any treatment and they are getting better. So how do I believe that Ayurveda really works? See, this is a very, very important point. Today, when the whole world is criticizing Ayurveda for no evidence, this question was raised for the first time, between Agnivesha and Atreya. In Charaka Samhita, we have the dialogue between Maitreya and Atreya also, where the same question is asked. So external skepticism, internal skepticism. We should not run away from it. We should encourage our students to ask questions, because during the education period, these questions have to be answered. Otherwise, we will not get Vaidyas who are really convinced about the system. Unfortunately, a lot of students come out of the course without having clarified all these doubts. That is what the Charaka Samhita is telling, that these questions should be expressed. There will be doubts about Ayurveda. There will be doubts about whether it is efficacious. This shouldn't be bypassed. Students should be allowed to ask questions, even if they are very radical questions, questioning the very existence of Ayurveda. Agnivesha asked that question. And what did Atreya say? Even when Maitreya asked this question in the Charaka Samhita, Atreya doesn't get upset or angry or irritated or shut them down. He engages in a dialogue and he explains the logic behind why you feel that Ayurveda is working or not working. I'm not going into those details. I would like all of you to read these passages because it will instill in you the spirit of inquiry, the spirit of free thinking. which is very essential for Ayurveda to evolve. It is through this spirit of thinking, it is through this inquiry which awakened higher mental faculties that Charaka was able to, rediscover Ayurveda. You can see in the context of Janapadodvamsa, Charaka is again uh, posing a dialogue, and Agnivesha is asking a question, a very, very pertinent question. Today morning, I was reading an article that has been published in Nature, which says that in diabetes and pre-diabetes, there's so much of individual variations. If two people eat potato, the way their body responds to it is very different. In one person, it may cause hyperglycemia; in the other, it does not. Grapes, potatoes, they are now discovered that there is a huge variation amongst individuals of how we respond differently to different diets. And they are selling. Michael Snyder from Stanford University has made a statement that it is wrong, as the American Diabetes Association is doing today, to give everybody the same diet. And this is reminding us of great truths that Ayurveda presented. But in Charaka Samhita, this is presented as a dialogue. Agnivesha is asking in Janapadodvamsa, why usually people are different in their prakritis, different in their diets, in their habits. How do they all get the same disease? So you can see that Ayurveda looked at all very comprehensively. And Charaka Samhita brings these beautiful truths in the context of a dialogue so that it becomes easier for us to understand. It kindles our questioning. This kind of narrative should still be continued. This is my opinion. So Charaka is an excellent book of pedagogy, of adult learning, not just of child learning. How adult learning should be promoted. In the Charaka Samhita, there is no discussion unless there is a question. You can see that almost all the chapters begin when Agnivesha asks a question. Sankhya Sahasinam Punarvasum. So Punarvasu is being depicted, as sitting quietly, and then Agnivesha coming and approaching. If there was no question, there was no teaching. This is called self-directed learning. The teacher is only a facilitator. Charaka says that in his Vimanasthana 8th chapter also. Artavo mekha iva sushishyam ashu shishya gunai sampadeti. Just like a seasonal cloud comes and gives the rains, and then the seeds will sprout and become plants and trees. So you can see the imagery, the idea of a teacher as a facilitator, helping students to unfold, just like the seeds, growing into a plant just when the rain falls. So teacher is like the cloud, which will, make the rain to fall on the soil and cause the seeds to sprout. It's such a beautiful narrative of how a teacher should be. And in one place, Chakrapani is also inspired to tell how to ask a question. Apradushtena bhavena prasannena andaratmana shishyena samyak prishtasya guror buddhi prakashana. So when apradushtena bhavena, with pure intent, when you ask a question just to know the truth, not because you want to show off or you are talking about arrogance, all questioning will come from humility, the true question. So apradushtena bhavena, prasannena andara, with no ill feelings, only the longing to know the truth. Shishyena samyak prishtasya, when the teacher is asked by a shishya in such a way, then Gurur Buddhi Prakashita, then the answer comes. Then it becomes a dialogue. So the best way to learn Ayurveda is through dialogues, through exploration, through deep meditation. When you bring all these methodologies together, the knowledge of Ayurveda will be rediscovered. So the Charaka Samhita is an excellent framework for creating new exploratory dynamic methods of learning. We should look at it that way. There is a lot that we can learn and adapt from the Charaka Samhita to improve the method of education and of teaching in the field of Ayurveda. So Charaka also says so some of his statements are really very, very profound. You can see today when it comes to evidence-based medicine, we are talking about three things. Safety, then efficacy, and then mechanism of action. So if you are saying that medicine should be evidence-based, if you are saying that should be evidence-based, then you need to fulfill three things. You need to fulfill three things. One is that you should show that the treatment is safe, and then you should show that it is effective, and then you should explain how it and why it works. Charaka is one of the first acharyas to say, "Vina tarkena ya siddhi yadricha siddhirevata." If you treat a patient, the patient gets better. Then it doesn't mean that your treatment actually worked. It could have happened accidentally. It could be a placebo effect. Patient may have taken some other treatment. How do you know that your treatment actually worked, even though the patient got better? So today, we are sometimes propagating Ayurveda very superficially. I treated a patient, he got better. This is not evidence-based. Just because you have a case report or you have a patient testimonial, Charaka wouldn't have accepted that as evidence. Today, a lot of us are doing that on Facebook. We will tell, I treated this case, this got better. According to Charaka, that becomes evidence only if you can do a tarka on how do you think that it was really your treatment that worked. What is the mechanism of action? So, vina tarkena ya siddhi yadricha siddhirevasa. So, if you cannot give the tarka, it is yadricha siddhi or chance effect or accidental success. So, we need safety, efficacy, mechanism of action, and these three principles are so beautifully explained in Charaka Samhita. In Ayurveda, the Ayurvedic Sanskrit term for safety is Shuddhi. Shuddhi of Chikitsa. Prayoga Shamayad Vyadhim Yonyam Anyamudiret Nasau Vishuddha Shuddhastu Shamayadi Anna Kopai. Such a beautiful conception of safety. The treatment which cures one disease and gives rise to another problem is not Shuddha. So Ayurveda was one of the first systems to talk about Shuddha Chikitsa, safe treatment. And that has its origin in Charaka Samhita. Later it has been highlighted by Vagbhara and today by so many acharyas. The second thing is Siddhi. Samyak prayogam sarvesham siddhirakyadi karmanam. So samyak prayogam siddhirakyadi, siddhi. Tesham siddhataman yogan. Siddha means proven as efficacious. Shuddha means proven as safe. So Shuddha Siddha Chikitsa. Ayurveda is supposed to be Shuddha Siddha Chikitsa. And this concept has its origin in the Charaka Samhita. Safe and efficacious, Shuddha and Siddha. So we have our own terminologies. Before these ideas came in the field of modern medicine, Charaka was talking about this. The third thing Charaka says, Sarvam Hetumat. Hetor Abhavan Nanu Vartade. There is a mechanism, there is a cause and effect mechanism. In the Dhanasthana, 8th chapter, he mentions this. Sarvam Hetumat. So you have to understand the Hetu. That is how the mechanism of action is the basis for our treatment. Triskanda Ayurveda, what does that mean? That we always emphasize mechanism. Hetu Linga Ushatha Skandham. Because of the Hetu, the linga or the disease manifests. And according to the hetu, when you understand the mechanism of action, you can give a treatment, aushadha. So, Shuddha Siddha Chikitsa with the emphasis on hetu, the mechanism of action. So, you can say that in this way, Charaka Samhita is one of the earliest medical textbooks in the world to project medical science as an evidence-based approach, which with clear data on what is safe, what is efficacious, and what is mechanism of action. Now another point is that in Charaka Samhita, Chakrapani elaborates. So Charaka Samhita has been enriched by so many commentaries. Chakrapani was known as Charaka Chaturanana because he had such in-depth, and so when you read Charaka along with the commentators, it comes to life. That is what we should do. That is a way. There should be a methodology for reading the Charaka Samhita. So Chakrapani introduces a new term. Charaka gave the term Yadricha Siddhi, and Chakrapani is introducing a term called Pratinayamiki Siddhi. Pratinayamiki means Yadricha Siddhi is chance effect. Pratinayamiki Siddhi is the real effect of medicine, where it has been established that the patient got better due to my treatment, not any other factor. When you can be sure about such a Siddhi, it's called Pratinayamiki Siddhi. So we have Shuddha Chikitsa, we have Siddha Chikitsa. Siddha Chikitsa, which distinguishes between Yadricha Siddhi and Pratinayamiki Siddhi. So, are we reading the Charaka Samhita with a clear understanding and inspiration of the personality who was behind this masterpiece? That is the question. So it is not possible today to discuss too many things. I just wanted to give some glimpse on some of the, deep things that Charaka communicates to us. I wanted to just highlight what is the message we have to take from Charaka Samhita. How do we implement it in our educational system? Charaka as a great yogi, elevated to the status of Patanjali. Charaka as a scientist was an explorer. Charaka who captured the beauty of the traditional pedagogical process, where the Shishya and the Guru was engaged in perpetual dialogues and discussions and debates and deep probing. Charaka who emphatically creates the context and paints the right landscape to present deep and profound ideas, like Tesham Moolam Adharmam in Janapadodhamsa. He brings the idea of sustainable development goals. Today, the whole world is talking about 17 sustainable development goals. It says that the world can be sustained from calamities, from diseases, only by re-establishing dharma. So 17 sustainable developments are there. I'm sure many of you are aware of that. One is good health and well-being, one of the sustainable development goals. And you can see that in Janapadodhamsa, Charaka brings a discussion to that level of societal impact when he says Tesham Moolam Adharma. So these kind of profound statements you cannot find in any of the other textbooks which were focused just more on treatments and medicines. Unfortunately, today many of us are also only interested in medicines and disease and treatments. We fail to appreciate the deeper philosophical, theoretical, principle framework of Charaka Samhita. Charaka presents Ayurveda in its totality. You can see when in Sharira Sthanam he goes to Purusha Vijayam Shariram, where the connection, between nature, planetary health. This is a new emerging concept. Purushoyam Loka Samhitaha. The microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. And that is why we have to follow Dinacharya, Rutucharya, because we have to have climate sensitive, environment sensitive protocols and SOPs for proper living. So in this way, Charaka talks so profoundly. In fact, in one place, the way Charaka defines health, Sushruta, of course, has given Samadhadu Samagni. But Charaka also says, Vigoro Dhatu Vaishamyam, Samyam Prakriti Ruchyate, Sukha Samjnagam Arogyam. He elevates health to the state of highest fulfillment and happiness. If you cannot be happy, if you are not satisfied with yourself, which is the actual meaning of the word swastha, how can you say you are healthy? So now a lot of modern psychologists, modern wellness experts are coming with the definition. You are healthy when you are happy without any reason. That is the highest state of health. When you're just bubbling with energy, with bliss for no reason, where your own existence becomes the bliss for you. That is the state of health. So Charaka Samhita, so you can see in so many places, Charaka has, given us gems, treasures, frameworks. It's not just if you go to Charaka Samhita to get one formulation. Charaka says formulations, Swabudhyevam Sahasrani Kotir Vapi Vigalpayet. बहुद्रव्य विकल्पत्वाद योग संख्या न विद्यते. Don't worry about these formulations. Yogereva chikitsani deshadyatnyo aparadhyati. Don't follow my yogas. Na yogereva kevalam. Don't. The Charaka Samhita is not for the yogas. It is for profound truths which will make you capable of making 100,000 yogas yourself. Even if all the yogas in Charaka Samhita are not used today, you can create. In fact, you have to create new yogas. In the Charaka Samhita, it is very clearly mentioned. Tehi tanya anuvartande manujendrami vedare. This is a concept seen only in Charaka Samhita. How to analyze a formulation, a yoga. Pradhanam viruddha viryam apyesham pradhananam abhathagam. Charaka has given you the logic that in every Ayurvedic formulation there are some pradhana dravyas and then there are apradhana dravyas, and they work in synergy and antagonism, and even if they are viruddha virya, they don't affect the pradhana dravya. And just like a king and the courtiers, the whole drug formulation is organized like the state is organized, with specific roles for each ingredient. Again, a framework which we don't see in any other text, only in the Charaka. So this is the greatness of Charaka. I can see that 1 hour is coming to an end. I know it is an afternoon, 2 o'clock after lunch. Everybody will not have the full attention span. And today, psychologists also say that 15 to 20 minutes is a maximum attention span. And even today, when I started this meeting, because I am seeing only my face, and that was also not visible in the beginning, I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable as I didn't know to whom I am speaking. A webinar is a little better because we can see a lot of faces, their reactions. A live interaction is even more better. So I do not know in what sense you have all received what I have said. It has been a dialogue to myself. I'm seeing only my face, but I hope in this little time I was able to convey something about Charaka and the greatness of this work, and how we can learn from the Charaka Samhita even today, and how it is so relevant and modern, how we can influence pedagogy, how we can influence public health approaches, how it can address deep philosophical questions, how we can address questions of evidence-based medicine, science, and on top of it all, how Charaka Samhita can present Ayurveda as an open system of knowledge, an open system which we can rediscover, one through an internal journey of sadhana, where which we awaken our higher mental powers, and then an external journey of exploration. This is what comes to my mind when I remember Charaka. Go inside, first correct your mind, for develop your higher mental capabilities, and then you explore, then you experiment. Both approaches should be combined together to get the complete knowledge of Ayurveda. So I can see a question, how to learn slokas and understand its essence just the way Charaka meant it. See, it is a textbook that has been created so many thousands of years ago. So we can never claim that we will fully understand what Charaka meant. Sanskrit is a very suggestive, deep, and meditative language. So a little bit of knowledge about Sanskrit is necessary to get a deeper meaning. I can give one example. The word Sukham, for example, we translate. If you learn through just translations, you may not get into the depth. So Charaka has himself given the methodology. He said Vakyasha, Vakya Arthasha, Arthavayavashaschedi. 3 levels. So today modern pedagogical methods also say that there are 3 levels of learning. One is memorization, then is understanding, third is reflection. This is what Charaka talks about, Trivitha Shishya Buddhitam. So in order to get the now preliminary textual understanding, you must know a little bit of Sanskrit. If you take the word Sukham, we translate as happiness. But if you know Sanskrit deeper, you know it is Su and Ka. Ka means space and Su means good. So good space means Srotas. In your body, the space is Srotas. Tatra khat khani dehesmin shabda shrotram viviktata. This is Akash Mahabodha. Kha is space. It's Akasha. So Sukham means good space. It means when there is no Sroto Rota, everything is flowing smoothly in your body. That is when you will have Sukha. So deeper meanings can come when we understand the Sanskrit a little bit more deeply. So one step to learn slokas properly is to have some basic knowledge of Sanskrit. See, I am also not an adept in grammar. You don't need to be able to write or speak Sanskrit. You need to understand the structure of Sanskrit. So I wish and hope that Sanskrit for Ayurveda students should be another customized course. The traditional way of learning Sanskrit at 18 years of age, when your mindset has become different, may be too challenging. I still think we have to create a very innovative and interesting way to learn the basics of Sanskrit. It's just enough so that we can understand our Samhitas more clearly. The second thing is, simply by hearting the sloka is not enough. It is only memory level. That was done in ancient days at a much younger age. In younger age, your mind will memorize more. I have found personally that when I analyze the sloka, when I reflect on it, when you go through all these 3 processes, try to memorize. If you don't remember, forget it. Then next step is you try to understand what it is. You can see that when your understanding increases, your sloka will become, more deeper. Then, we go to reflection. When you start reflecting on that sloka, getting deeper and deeper meanings, then that sloka will get imprinted in your mind. I remembered a lot of slokas now. I don't have a presentation. I'm not looking at any text. I'm just reciting only the slokas which come to my mind. From my experience, I can say I've never spent time repeating these slokas. I read the Charaka Samhita 3-4 times. Again, I come to it. The slokas which catch my attention, I think over it. I never sat and said, Hidayadam Sukam Dukkham Ayuspase Hidayadam Hidayadam. I've never learned like that. I've read it, I've analyzed it, the Anvaya, look at the meaning, and then try to recollect it mentally. And when I reflect on it, get a deeper meaning, it's like that sloka gets imprinted in your mind. I'm not good at learning slokas of yogas because too much of meaning cannot be found in that. So I have remembered only some of the major yogas, not everything. So that is the thing. Now there is another question. Can you brief about the essence of Chikitsa Sthana? Like how to apply Chikitsa Sthana practically. So in order to apply Chikitsa Sthana of Charaka Samhita, you must look at its Nidana Sthana. So in Nidana Sthana of Charaka Samhita is very unique because it gives description only about 8 chapters. Have you thought about why only 8 chapters? If you look at the class, and this Chikitsa Sthana is an expansion of the Nidana Sthana. Nidana Sthana gives you the template. And because Nidana and Chikitsa have to be discussed together, Charaka stops Nidana. He says, Nidana I cannot separate from Chikitsa. So I'm giving you a framework, and then I'm going to explain Nidana, Chikitsa, and Dravya together. They are a triad. It is a triadic thing. You must think about Nidana, you must think about, because Ayurveda is Triskanda. Chikitsa Sthana is designed in a Triskanda way. Every the disease is presented as Lakshana, and then the text explains you what is the Hetu behind that Lakshana, and then with the Aushadha, how you can reverse that Hetu so that the Lakshana will disappear. You cannot discuss only about Hetu, then it becomes Nidanasthana. When you discuss only about Aushadha, it becomes Kalpasthana. When you discuss only about Linga and Hetu, that again it becomes just the Nidanasthana. So Chikitsa Sthana is a combination of all the three. In Nidanasthana, Charaka gives you only 8 chapters. If you see the first chapter, Jwara, then Raktapitta, then Gulma, then Prameha Kushta, then Shosha, and then Unmada Avasmada. So if you look at it, you can see the Nidanasthana is divided in this framework, Shariram, Manasam. So the two Adhishtanas, Manas and Shariram, are the two Adhishtanas of the disease. So it is showing you that there are Sharirika and Manasika Vyadhis. In the Sharirika Vyadhis, you are talking about Koshta, Shakha, and Marma. So Jwara, Rakta, Pitta, Gulma are Koshta Ashrita Vyadhis. Prameha, Kushta are Shakha Ashrita Vyadhis. Shosha, Yakshma Pakshma Vadhardida is coming under Yakshma Paksha Vadhardida is coming under the Madhyama Roga Marma. So the 3 Roga Margas are there. Manas Shariram is there. It's a multi-layered framework of Nidanasthana. And then you can see 7 dhatus. The 7 chapters, first 7 chapters are you're moving from Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Medas, Asti, Majja, and Shukra dhatu. And in Manoroga, 8th chapter, you come to Ojas. It is when Ojas is affected, the mind is affected. So the Chikitsa Sthana is an expansion of this. It tells that how the disease manifests in a different way when the Adhisthana is changing. The same Adhisthana, the doshas are coming in different combinations, and as the Adhisthana changes, and as the dosha samurchana changes, the disease manifestation will change. This is what is elaborated in Chikitsa Sthana. And in Chikitsa Sthana, we are starting with Rasayana Chikitsa. So, for lack of time, I will not be able to elaborate more. It's already 1 hour 15 minutes. I also have some other schedules to attend to. So, so I think, see, the final thing, people are interested about Chikitsa Sthana more. So, this is the message I want to give. When you combine Nidana Chikitsa together, understand that in Charaka Samhita through Chikitsa Sthana, the patient is coming to you, you are seeing the lingas. So use the Chikitsa Sthana's logic to understand. You cannot treat a patient unless you understand the hetu behind the linga. That is what Chikitsa Sthana is telling you. Why those lingas are manifesting. What is the hetu behind it? What is the Sannikrishta hetu? What is the Viprakrishta hetu? What is the Pradhana, Apradhana hetu? All these things are put in the Chikitsa Sthana. If you look at it, in fact, the disease in Nidana is like a crime scene. You have seen a detective. The detective will come and look at all the clues and then reconstruct the crime scene, saying that this is what might have happened. This is how Ayurveda constructs Samprapti. This is called the Panchalakshana Nidana. This is very essential for a Chikitsa. If you don't do the Nidana properly, means if you cannot trace Yathadushtena Doshena Yathachanu Visarpada Nirvrittinamesyaso Sampraptir Jadira. This is how the disease may have evolved. That reconstruction of the crime scene is called Panchalakshana Nidana. But it is a crime that has not yet been completed. Disease is a crime in progress. So you have to predict now through the Satkriya Kala, how will the disease progress in the future? What is the outlook? What is the prognostic outlook? So with this reconstruction of the disease process, how it has happened, how it came up to this stage, what will happen in the future? With this knowledge, you are going to intervene. I'm afraid I can only give some frameworks here now. And there are more questions coming, but it is already 3:15. So with this, I go back to the organizers. Thank you for this opportunity. And I would like to conclude here. And I hope this discussion has been helpful for all of you to get more inspired to read and learn from the Charaka Samhita. Namaste.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful session. It's fascinating how the spirit of questioning is important, and it's not just about seeking answer, but about fostering curiosity, critical thinking, and a deeper exploration of ideas and concepts. Now, Dr. Sujata ma'am wants to speak a few words, sir. Please.
Namaste, sir. So now I am in the right path I'm feeling. And a lot of thanks to you, sir. I just want to come and touch your feet. This is
Thank you, ma'am. Lastly, I would like to invite Dr. Shweta Rani, Assistant Professor, Department of Panchakarma, for vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a great honor and privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of Acharya Charaka Jayanti. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our beloved Principal Sir, Dr. Manjula Taki Sir, for granting us permission to celebrate Charaka Jayanti and giving an opportunity to celebrate Charaka Jayanti and to have esteemed speaker like Dr. P. Manohar Sir, and thank you for guiding us with such an enlightenment. You have given us the insights over the dialogue between Acharya Atreya and Shishya Agnivesha, and how Acharya Charaka have grasped it, and how he had gone through the tapas of wandering and exploring the contents of Samhita, and today we are following that. Thank you for guiding us, sir. And you are the holder of the education light, sir. The world know you as one of the greatest follower of Charak Samhita. Uh, your insights have enriched us and truly added immense value and knowledge to this occasion. Thank you so much, sir. A special thanks to our respected Dean, Dr. Neeta Deshmukh ma'am, for giving this opportunity. I would also extend my thanks to our organizing committee, HOD and faculty members of Department of Kai Chikitsa and Panchakarma for the untiring efforts and seamless coordination and making this event the most successful one. Lastly, my sincere thanks to all the students of Rudra batch and everyone behind the scenes. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. As we wrap up this event of learning and celebration on behalf of SAMC and H, on the behalf of Samata Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital, thank you all for being here and making this celebration meaningful. And sir, lastly, we have chosen this YouTube StreamYard only because you should not you should not face any distraction, because muting, unmuting of the students takes place. So because of that reason, we have chosen this, sir. And again, we can repeatedly, we can, if we want, we can see it again in YouTube, sir. That was the reason.
I understand. I just was expressing suddenly. You could have noticed in the beginning, I felt a bit uncomfortable when everything, nothing was visible, and then I was just in front of it. That's it. I understand fully. I have also used StreamYard for the same purpose. So
Yes.
I hope finally I was able to.
It, sir. In the smart board, all the students are watching. All the batches students are watching in the smart board, sir, of their classes.
Great. Yeah, the StreamYard offers that good possibility that you can broadcast it to a much larger audience. I fully understand.
Yes, sir. That was the reason, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll end this streaming. Thank you, sir. Thank you.